or the new Democratic administration were even sworn in. But Democrats still wanted to rush ahead with the huge borrowing and spending sprees they had promised their far left. Top economists, including famous Democrats, warned our colleagues to think again. Even liberal experts tried to warn our colleagues that the socialist ideas they'd drawn up in 2020 were not suited to what Americans needed in 2021. Overspending and overborrowing would unleash.
Overall, the Biden administration has canceled more than $17 billion in debt for 725,000 borrowers, from fixing public service loan forgiveness programs to addressing the borrower's defense backlog. It's good to see that President Biden is helping out the American people with stimulus checks. If you think he's doing a good job on this, tell me down in the comments. We're back, everybody, and we have some more stimulus information. Social Security news, SSI, SSDI stimulus checks. It's official that a fourth stimulus check is going out. Lawmakers have even suggested a one-time tax credit will provide up to $2,000 in additional financial aid to people during this time. The administration has confirmed that they will take action to address rising inflation. So everybody, continue watching this video because you definitely don't want to miss out on this. As inflation continues to rock the country, households are losing purchasing power. Prices are up on average 8.5% over last year, with increasing fuel costs they're driving the surge. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that the gasoline index rose 18.3% in March and accounted for over half of all the items' monthly increase. As fuel prices increase, so do transportation costs. For many firms, companies pass along these increased costs to the consumer by charging higher prices. What is clear is that the current bout of inflation seen in the market is not affecting all products in the same way. The Consumer Price Index decreased by 0.4% in March when energy and food commodities were removed from the average. In response to increasing inflation, the Federal Reserve has announced that it will raise interest rates. What some economists are saying is that while prices are rising at historic levels, this is unlike other periods of high inflation seen in the country. The root cause, increased food prices and a lower supply of consumer goods, has led to a classic recipe for inflation. Economists believe that it could be a short-sighted term for this Federal Reserve to begin engaging in interest rate hikes, as it could leave those at the bottom of the income scale to suffer the most. When interest rates increase, money begins to move more slowly throughout the economy. This can make it more difficult for firms, individuals to gain access to credit, and in many cases, there is an associated rise in unemployment. Economists are warning that an interest rate increase could stunt the economic recovery, which has empowered workers for the first time in decades, giving them greater leverage when negotiating salaries and benefits. Of a one-time inflation adjustment tax cut for lower and mid-income households, a more significant tax return could support families in the short term to counter the impact of increased prices. While prices are up more than 8%, wages have only increased 4.5% in the last year.
The ideas they'd drawn up in 2020 were not suited to what Americans needed in 2021. Overspending and overborrowing would unleash inflation, slow rehiring, and hurt small businesses. All that was predicted. But Democrats rushed ahead. They rammed through what the White House bragged was the most left-wing legislation in our nation's history. And now Democrats want to follow up with even more absurd summer sequel. Well, let me tell you, Mr. President, I just spent 2 weeks hearing from my fellow Kentuckians, and they're already paying a heavy price. Manufacturers are still absolutely hammered by supply chain shocks. Employers, large and small, say Democrats' special bonus for workers who stay unemployed is badly hampering their ability to fully reopen and to serve their customers. Most of our surrounding states have already put a stop to this awful idea, but Kentucky's governor regretfully hasn't. It isn't just for-profit businesses either that are having trouble getting people back to work. I heard from one residential treatment center for pregnant women and new moms grappling with substance abuse. They said